Caught on camera the moment migrants made a run to the border. You can hear people cheering, whistling, and celebrating that they can see their end goal in sight, El Paso. You can hear migrants chanting, "We are united," and one migrant telling the cameras, quote, "We're not doing anything to you," end quote. Francisco Guarduño is the migration delegate on the Mexican side of the border, and he says migrants making their way to the southern border will always be an issue if the United States continue to allow their open border policy.
Hi friends, welcome to the Share Report. Thanks so much for joining. If you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, share this channel with others, and for those who are returning, thank you so much. Be sure to share this to get other people involved, to become active citizens, because we definitely need more active citizens in this day and age here in America. It's imperative. So you may have noticed that I opened up the video with a picture, and that picture is actually an artist conception of what Rome looked like whenever they had barbarians or people flooding into their borders. So they also had a border crisis. So this video is basically talking about, just much like Rome, how their empire fell, is the same way that America is actually falling. You can see from history that it is repeating itself. And so one thing I wanted to point out, one of the many things that caused Rome to fall was that they had people from other nations flooding into their border. They had mass immigration coming through, and that's what caused them to fall. Not only that, but they also had high inflation, terrible things going on, immoral things happening, just like how we have here in America. And then also after that picture, there was actually a video I played of the crisis that we're having at our southern border. We have so many people flooding in here. And one thing I wanted to point out is, not only did that cause Rome to fall, but it's also happening here. And because our borders are wide open, that's causing lots of crime to come through here. And not only just crime, because I don't believe that every single person that's coming over to the border is a criminal. Quite a few of them are. Well, I have to say this, if they're coming over here illegally, then they're all criminals. But when I say that they're not all criminals coming from their country, meaning like I don't believe that every single one of them are going to commit crimes. But I do believe that every single one of them that are coming over is actually competition for you and I. So as of now, it is so hard for people to survive. I mentioned probably a couple of videos back that we had a meeting at my company that I work for, and insurance went up 60%. So there's currently people who I spoke to today that are actually actively looking for another job or looking for other options because they can't afford the insurance cost that has gone up here in the United States. And they're worried about their medication, they're worried about their wages and everything. So the more people flooding into the country is more competition for you and I. So those people don't need as much as we need to survive. They can all live together, have a low wage, and be perfectly fine. Where here, it's like I mentioned, insurance is very expensive. Housing insurance is very expensive. Car insurance is very expensive currently. So those people flooding in here, illegal immigrants that are coming across the border illegally, is competition for you and I, for our jobs, for our healthcare. And then when I say healthcare, they're actually getting healthcare for free. So like someone that has a sickness or an illness, like this year I had some things happen to me and I'm still dealing with it and trying to sort through it, where my cost to pay for insurance is sky high. where illegal people, they get free health care. So not only is that unfair to the American citizens, but it's also a slap in the face from our government. They don't care about us. They only care about the bottom line, and that is votes. And one thing I wanted to express to you guys who are listening, those people that are coming across the border, like I had mentioned before, and I want you to let this be ingrained in your mind. Ingrain this in your mind. It is competition for us. It is hurting the country. We cannot handle that many people. We have problems here that we need to get through. So one of the things that I believe that we need to do is hold the politicians that we're paying their salaries accountable. We need to hold them accountable and say, hey, put us first. Why do we keep getting ignored? Why don't you care about the American people who are paying your salary? So at the beginning of this video, I had mentioned how that happened to Rome and how it's happening here. And history repeating itself, you definitely need to know your history, because if you don't know it, you are very much bound to repeat it. And I don't think the politicians in Washington, D.C. know their history very well, because if they did, they would not allow the things that are happening now to happen to this country if they knew their history. So I had this really interesting paper. I will post it for you, but it's about the government. It's a great paper. I'm going to point out specific things for you all to see it and for you to read it yourself, but I wanted you to see some key points, because it's great information for us to learn from, and it also causes us to think. So I'm going to post this picture of this paper and then talk a little bit about it and then wrap things up. So you consistently hear me talk about we the people. I always mention that here whenever I'm talking about our government and talking about us citizens, how we need to be active, because the Constitution is for we the people. And because we are actually paying the salaries of the politicians that is governing our country, governing the business that we are putting forward, I always mention we the people. So I'm going to read just a little bit of this and point out some things that are great. So government. All governments have a constitution or law of the land, meaning for the people. I like this part here. Historically, all kings and dictators push for laws that give them absolute power. So let's hop down a little bit further. Unlike the Roman Empire, where Caesar, first dictator turned emperor, is ruler over all, the United States, by law of the Constitution, is a constitutional government. We are a constitutional republic. That puts the power of government into the hands of the United States citizens. The first three words of the Constitution are we the people. So I keep saying that over and over again because people do not put their rights to practice. People do not realize, when I say people, meaning us Americans, do not put their rights to practice. If they did, they would not allow the things that are going on currently to be happening. So just remember that we are a constitutional republic. And the Constitution is for we the people. So I wanted to share that with you all because it is a great paper. I will leave this here for you to read a little bit further. It's a great paper. And I will hop back on. So as I mentioned, we need to put our rights to practice. We need to hold that dearly because our rights are definitely being stripped from us. And our government is not following the Constitution, especially if they're letting people flood through the borders as they are doing and overlooking the American citizens. We need to hold these people accountable. We definitely do. So I just wanted to share that with you all. And to talk a little bit about history, how the one of the many ways the Roman Empire fell was via mass immigration, mass illegal immigration through their borders. The same thing that's happening here in America. We do not want to repeat history, and unfortunately it is happening. So we need to become active citizens, talk to our elected officials, public servants, and remember, it's we the people. So I'll see you all in the next video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and share this with others. And thanks so much for joining.